Great, we got Terry Farrell, Nicole, Boer, and Nerys and Behr. Where's my rose? Oh, dude, it matches you.
Here, dude, you need a rose. Do you need a rose?
I don't need a rose. No, you beautiful ladies get it. Here they are. What do you think, huh? It's Deep Space Nine time again, baby. Oh, boy. Now, you know, it's, how many years has it been since it's off the air? Let's get our timeline together. When did it start? When did it start? What was when did you start filming?
92.
92. Ira, when did you come on?
I began in 93, which is when the show began. I don't know what 92 means.
93.
It was 93, and
It was like, I wasn't there until August, not the part of Dax, and you guys were already filming.
No. That can't be. I was...
Debuted March 93. Thank you.
Wait,
We got it from
we
next.
aired in 93, then it
I know
must
how
have
to
started.
I was there before anyone was cast.
Wait, I know how to solve this. Buster was 3 months old when I started filming, and he was born 92, April 7th.
I'm just saying.
Lost
I knew it
year of
too.
my life. So.
Who wrote the Bible, Ira? Who wrote the Bible on the show?
Who wrote the Bible?
Yeah.
Michael Pillar.
Michael Pillar. God bless Michael Pillar, right?
And as I said before, he took me to a Dodger game. This is after I had left TNG. And he said, we're doing a new show. I want you to read the Bible and let me know what you think. And at that point, Behr was named Amorous after a Brooklyn Dodger baseball player. And I read it. We went to another game, and I said, okay, sounds good to me. And he said, if you come, I'll give you the show in the third year. The show will be yours for the rest of the run. And being a man of his word, that's what he did. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about these lovely and talented women.
Wow.
I know who
we would
by the
not
way,
be
are.
here if you didn't write for us. Totally. I know, I'm here because of you. So.
Actually, y'all
And Hans Beimler.
And Hans. Okay.
look gorgeous, all four of you. And I think it's, you know, it's the 50th anniversary. I think we start off by just kind of reflecting on 50 years of Star Trek legacy. Each of you just, you know, kind of give a shout out to the 50th anniversary and tell me what it means to each of you guys.
Never older.
It really doesn't feel that way, you know what I'm saying? I look at you all and everybody
You look
looks
the
the
same.
same. Everybody looks the same. And it's just kind of a profound time in our lives just to feel that milestone.
It is profound, and it's amazing. It's been just like a thread in my life from the beginning, from watching the reruns and preparing to, every time before I went on stage when I was 18, I'd eat dinner in front of the TV. It was on in New York City at about 6:30, so I'd eat dinner in front of Star Trek. And every night, it's what I did every night. And then 25 years ago, it became so entwined in my life, and all of this, it's just, I can't imagine life without Star Trek, actually. I can't imagine.
Because there's an at-home feeling. Feels like even if I didn't watch Voyager or a lot of the shows, once you live it, there's this camaraderie of surviving it, and it's like we all battle through to make this wonderful story for you, and there's parts of it that feel really real to us, it just in the way it is for filming. We're all exhausted like you would be when you're in a battle. We have to lean on each other. We need each other.
the best and worst comes out.
It
And
does.
then we're part of the most global, unbelievable club. I can go anywhere in the world and find my people and go, okay, we got stuff to talk about. We may not even speak the same language, but in a way we do. We'll speak Star Trek together. We share something.
We all know what this means, so. Right?
Being in the Star Trek community is what I consider to be inside of a giant circle of protection. And inside of this community where everybody cares for each other, has each other's backs, it's all inclusive, it's infinite diversity and infinite combinations, right? And there's no barriers inside of it. Now, if only the rest of the world would catch up with the program, we'd be a lot better.
Something to be very proud to be a part of because of the message, and it's a great club to be part of because of its message. And when you get recognized and you're somewhere on the other side of the world, and it's because of being in this club, so it's the club that I want to be part of for sure. I mean, I was always a fan myself, and then ended up on Deep Space Nine, so it's a huge honor for me. And like you say, and I did watch, not all the other shows, like at least a few episodes of the other shows. And the whole thing feels very natural to me, very good, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I mean, it's such a blessing too.
All right, so I don't make a secret of it. I love the original series, but Deep Space Nine is my favorite. Okay? It made an important decision in terms of the narrative that it was going to be a long-form arc, and that can be very perilous in television. Now, I guess it was syndicated. Was it still one of the great syndicated shows? So in that sense, it had a certain amount of protection about it, but it's a big aesthetic risk to hope that you can bring your viewers along on a 7-year narrative and sustain their interest without constantly giving them an anthological approach. And DS9 dared to be the long form and tell, I think, if not the greatest, one of the most greatest stories in Star Trek history, with the long story about the Dominion, about the founders, and the transformation for the lives of everybody in the station. So you, as the showrunner and the writer that you are, we salute you, and at the same time, how did it feel knowing that you're making you're taking a calculated risk, and it's an experiment?
Well, like with all Trek, at the beginning we had no idea what the show was. Michael and Rick had come up with this wonderful premise, not have a make it like everything that came before. You fall back on what you know, and it just did not work. I knew it, Pete Fields knew it, and it's like, we seem to be backing off of this whole idea. It was only really at the end of season 1 with Duet and The Hand of the Trumpet. What was it? No, what was the final episode? It's the end of season 1. Whatever the title. No, where we met Kai Wynn.
You had it!
Whatever. Anyway, it was only then that we really started towards the end of the season to say, holy crap, we could really do something different here if we dare to. If we take the risk, they're not going to cancel us. So why be scared on, like most TV shows back in the day lived in fear of being canceled. We didn't have that fear. So why not take the opportunity that we were given? So then when we started season 2 with the 3-part episode that had never been done in the franchise, then suddenly it all started to click. And everything was a struggle because, you know, whether it was the tough little ship of the Defiant or the Dominion War. Good Christ, you couldn't say war, you know, on Star Trek anymore. It was all about peace and love, just like the world we live in. It's all about peace and love. But anyway,
That's against the natural order of things. The natural order in nature is predator and prey. And so, yes, Star Trek espouses peace, and maybe our civilization has achieved peace, but out there in the hostile force of the universe and nature, it's predator and prey.
Well, Cisco said it. I wrote it for him, but Cisco said it. He said, you know, Earth is a paradise and it's easy to be a saint in paradise, but Deep Space Nine was on the frontier, baby. You know, it was at the end of the end, beyond the beyond. So, you know, all bets were off, and yeah, you had to get your hands dirty. So that was what that show was. But look, it was a lot of fun. We had the best freaking cast you could ever ask for. Serious people. It might not be the fun set that some of the other shows were. You know, it wasn't a lot of
We're a fun set. No, we were not a fun set.
You know, but that's cool.
We're fun people, just not at work.
Exactly. And they become more fun somehow since the show is ended. You know, everyone is relaxed, not having to put the makeup on. It's suddenly everyone is sweet as sugar.
Well, you touched on it really. The heart of Deep Space Nine is this incredible saga of all these characters. It was always character driven. That's part of what made it so great. It's because the dramatic arcs and narratives of each character, they were so transformative. Every character went through great transformations, and our three lovely ladies up here, each of their characters went through profound transformations as well. So I'd just like to speak to each of them about it. I'm actually going to reverse this and start with Nicole, because it was a huge challenge to come on the final season and essentially take a role that had been, you know, played by somebody else. But at the same time, you had the conceit of the fact that you know, you're a symbiont in another body, and so from that point of view, that gives you some artistic freedom.
Right. Well, the hardest part was getting that little worm, and because she's so much taller than me, so that was really the toughest part of the. No, seriously, I think that had I watched the show, I would have been a lot more terrified. I didn't watch the show. I watched the first episode because my boyfriend had auditioned for it from the beginning and didn't get it, and so we decided we weren't going to watch Deep Space Nine.
That's the reason
So, and also at that time period in my life, I didn't want to watch a lot of TV, but I got the show. Great thanks to Hans Weimler, who asked me to read for it, and I'd worked with him before, and so I show up, and it all happened very fast for me at that time. So I think if I'd watched it, I would have been way more freaked out, and I would have been, even though I was told, like, don't think of it as taking over a part, to think of it as a new character, it would have freaked me out, for sure. But the role of Ezri, when I saw it on the page, I just felt, you know, as an actor, you read stuff for auditions, and there's some that just pop out and you go, that's my part. You know what I mean? And others are not so easy, and when I read it, I was like, I gotta say, that's my role. Like, I feel it, it felt good. So from the moment I read it, it just really felt right. And the writing was so good, and when I came in, I got to meet everybody, you know, and as an actor coming into an ensemble cast, such a large cast, that was great too. Because as Ezri came in and, you know, saw Quark, as Ezri came in and talked to, you know, Cisco and everybody, I was coming in and having my first scene with each actor. So the writing, as people say, does, you know, most of the work, so much of the work for you, and it was such a great character and great writing. So that really helped. Now, as I went further along and understood more about what it meant to be Dax, then I was like, wow, this is pretty cool, you know? because Dax had gone through so much, Terry had portrayed so much as Jadzia, had gone through so much, and now here I was with my story arc, which we crammed in so much in that last year for Ezri. I mean, she really went through a lot and was thrown into that situation of being joined and wasn't ready for it. So as an actor, I really enjoyed all the things that I got to do with her. I would love to see her now, years later, you know, with her crap together more. You know, that'd be cool.
The whole concept of Scythian being in both male and female
Yeah.
forms almost essentially makes it a transgender character,
Definitely.
which is
Yeah.
revolutionary and forward-thinking for the show. So I'd love to get any and everybody's comments about that, and particularly the two ladies that, you know, portrayed Dax.
It was very forward thinking in that way. I mean, and you certainly got to do a lot with it in that sense too, right? And I mean,
Cisco frequently referred to you as old man.
yes.
Yes, he did.
Yeah?
I would go so far as to say that Dax was more pansexual, because I think what was beautiful about her is that she dropped judgment about people. I think that when she met someone that she wanted to have fun with in a sexual way, it was more like, hey, well, I wonder what this is gonna look like. I mean, she had a lot of lovers that were all different kinds of aliens, female, male, I don't know. You know what I mean? It was like, what is that? In a way, it's really advanced to not put anything on it. It just is what it is, and we're cool.
It's all inclusive.
Yeah, you're all good. Here's what
That's where it's really love is love. Love is love is love.
What you are, your authentic self, is absolutely everything you need to be, and that is all you need to be, and that's true for all of us.
It's definitely a lesson to be learned for all of us. But imagine poor Worf. He didn't sign on for that. He married you, and
He must have tickled
the
something.
poor guy, I'm sure he did, but the poor guy was thrust into total confusion when you passed, and Ezri came on. I mean, and that was a great dramatic moment for the show, too, because of that confusion and ambiguity, which called into question the nature of the character itself. And then a single living life entity like Worf, who only has one life and one form and one gender, faced with the ambiguity of the transformation of the Dax character, created amazing dramatic and narrative opportunities, which you guys exploited. And you planned that, Ira, didn't you? You devious person here.
Well, you know, actually, we were all bummed out at the end of season 6 when we lost Terry. We didn't believe it was going to happen. We didn't want it to happen, and it happened. And then, obviously, you have to keep going. And so we started to create this new character. And then Nicole showed up, and it was like a slam dunk, thank God. And as she alluded to a few moments ago, you know, in both the need to keep going and the need to keep that character alive and present and real after 6 years of that character being real, we threw a hell of a lot of stuff at her in one season. And I know some of the other actors were not thrilled about how much attention we were giving her, but we had no choice. It felt like we had no choice. And whatever we gave her, she was able to do. So it was really the worst of times, you know, leading into new great times, actually. So we just got lucky. And we did, by the way, for all of those who are interested, you know, there's allegedly going to be a DS9 documentary that we've been working on for a couple of years. Some of you might know. get to play the Bill Shatner role of interviewing everyone. One of the things we decided to do was to bring the writing staff together for a day to break episode 1 of season 8. So if you guys want to know what happens to your characters in this mythical episode 1 of season 8, if this goddamn documentary ever comes out, you'll find out. And I just want to say one thing right up front. We only had one day. We didn't meet before to discuss it. So we had this really intense story session for that one day. And after it was over, we all said goodbye. And then I started to get the emails. We forgot Quark. So everyone has a storyline except Armin. So I'm just giving you a heads up in the 5 years from now when this thing finally comes out that, yeah, we blew it. We forgot to give Quark a storyline. But
Well, that's because there are 25 characters in the show. So
Exactly.
It was amazing how you were able to have such well-formed characters given the enormous size of the ensemble. I mean, it's Shakespearean in scope. I know our time is fleeting. We're going to get to questions. Now, I find your Bajoran, yeah, she was Major Kira, but she was really a Bajoran freedom fighter. I find uniquely prescient your character and what you were doing as I look today, particularly in the Middle East, and see the convergence of cultures and political arenas and religious, different forms of religion and extremism. I just thought that the Kira character was very forward-looking, and ultimately, you know, really was Kira on the right or the wrong? I mean, I know she was fighting Cardassian occupation, but there was a lot of collateral damage along the way, and so.
No question, and it's one of the things.
The genius of the writing is taking a problem, we lose Terry and making it a huge win. And me getting pregnant during the show, you worked it so wonderfully, and I wasn't carrying pads and books in front of me or anything like that. I was pregnant, and I was...
Birth control.
Yeah. Now that child is 19 years old in 6th grade.
God bless him.
It's so great. But to get back to Kira, there's so many layers. And there's one that I've just realized recently. My other son, Buster, is a Marine. And I like what the Marines say. They don't... that. I mean a lot. They don't say post-traumatic stress disorder. They say post-traumatic stress. They say it's not a disorder. It's very natural response to what they go through. So I like that. So I don't say disorder either. But she definitely had it. And if you know someone with post-traumatic stress, they behave just what you wrote, just how she was. And it took her 7 years to be okay and to feel safe and to start to be who she was. So even in that sense, she was layered and psychologically appropriate. I mean, it was very truthful, very truthful.
The episode where pregnant girl was kidnapped by the Nazi and his savaging a pregnant woman. It's not black and white because, I mean, Kira's actions caused terrorist deaths and deaths of his loved ones.
Well, the name itself, it tells you everything. To some, she's a freedom fighter. To others, she's a terrorist. And it's, what side are you looking from? And it's both sides at once.
It just hits today's news so much. So again, another forward-thinking character arc. So, having said that. You guys are amazing. We're going to take it to questions and answers, but thank you so much for that because it was fantastic.
This question DS9 is my favorite Star Trek series, so thanks.
Thank you.
Question specifically is, of course, when you were writing DS9, there was that other sci-fi show about a space station with a continuing story arc. So I'm curious, as if, you know, in the writers' room, how aware were you of what you were doing? Did you care? Did you feel like they cared about what you were doing? What was the relationship there, if any?
Well, I can say I cared about nothing in those 7 years except this damn show. So I was totally oblivious to Babylon 5. The only thing I knew about it was my neighbor Bill Mooney was on it, and you know, so I knew the show existed, and I think it's going back a long time, but I think maybe Renee Echevarria watched a little of it, I'm not sure, but we never discussed it. I never knew what was going on. I figured they were doing their thing, we were doing our thing. I was much more aware and thinking of TNG and what we were trying not to do, and Voyager and what we were trying not to do, than Babylon 5. I felt like at times I was fighting this franchise. That was enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I was, of course, raised on Star Trek, and Deep Space Nine was always my favorite. I often jokingly blame you ladies for making me gay. But it was by watching you guys that I really developed a lot of the morals that I have these days of loyalty, courageousness, being true to yourself, and being intelligent. And I was wondering what women it was in your life that actually instilled those values in you, that you saw in the media or in your personal life that did that.
I have to say, a lot of the, you know, I was an actor. I was someone who danced and sang on Broadway. I was thinking about my next job a lot of the time. And when I got this job, I had to stop. It was now up to me to stop and think about really big issues. And I remember Duet stopping me cold to really know what I thought about myself. And I have to say, the show helped me develop quite a bit. Quite a bit.
Before I met Mr. Behr, my character, they didn't know what to do. And I was 28, and they didn't quite know what to do with me living 350 years, but being in this 28-year-old body, and Avery calling me old man. I definitely had an evolution and had to stop and try to think about who I wanted to be being Dax. I remember reading a lot of stuff about Buddhism and Taoism, and because I kept thinking, if someone's this old, they must have so much patience and so much compassion to have made it this far. And everybody on the station was so much younger than me, even though I was one of the youngest people on the set. And one of the least experienced people on the set. So as I grew, the writers wrote different for me, but more importantly, once Ira started to write for me, I was really coming into blossoming into being myself and more confident on the set, and he really started to write for that, and it empowered me in a whole new way. So I feel like our show helped me grow up.
Now, see, for real Star Trek, it's a thread in our lives like crazy.
I guess I'm just realizing right now why Ezri felt so right to me. It's because I grew up with a petite, fierce Scottish grandma who always taught me, like, if she wanted to do something in the house, or, you know, she'd be, I'll do it myself. I'll do it myself. And so she would teach me, like, you just do it yourself. And then my mom was a single mom, and I have total respect for her, working hard single mom, raised me along with my grandparents. So, and none of us are big, you know? So I think that it makes sense. Here I am as a petite actor, and I get to play this adorable Ezri, but at the same time, she's no pushover, you know? She can sit there and look cute and pixie-like, but she'll tell you just what she thinks about the Klingons at the same time. And so yeah, it's making me realize that for sure that's where my strength came from and what I brought to Ezri as well.
Can I ask a quick question? Do we have time? I don't want to take away from these guys, but just, you know, from what you said, Terry, one of the things that the writing staff really tried to do at some point when we realized enough already with the old man and we had made that, we played that enough times, I think. And we tried to put you guys together more, you know, instead of, at the beginning you were like this separate pod, you were both doing your own thing. Did that work for you? Did that actually come across?
No, it worked for
Because it was a big thing to try to do, you know, and of course I don't remember whether it worked or not. I think it did.
I thought it did.
Yeah, you know what I liked a lot?
Defiant stuff?
Yes.
You do? Yeah.
Yes. There was one shuttle, there was one mission we went on together, and I so wanted to do more of that because we took time out in our own lives to go run lines together and have breakfast, and we just got down really tight, and it was so much fun doing it. It was worth all of what we put into it. And you could have done more of that.
Right, that was something kind of new. But I'm glad we got some of it because
It was awesome.
it was important to do. And of course, all we talk about is it's a show about friendship, and we realize that, you know, it's not just Bashir and O'Brien on the holosuite, as fun as that might be. So.
Wait a minute, now you're talking about the first episode of season 8 too. Don't we end up on we were together at the very end, and the two of us, and we didn't have stuff together. So I'm just saying, you know.
That stuff with everyone. What are you complaining about?
No, it's true. You're talking about Dax and Kira. And,
Wait,
you know,
do I come back like Spock?
Your question.
Do I come back like Spock? I mean,
As you want to come back.
Let's wait a minute. We got questions. Come on. We're running out of time. We're very close on time.
My question is for Ira and Mr. Behr. I was hoping you could shed some light on the Ferengi episodes because it was one member of the cast on this stage last year that believed that the Ferengi episodes were not given as much priority as the other types of episodes. And, you know, if a director...
I'm not sure what you mean by priority.
They were, you know, just kind of like, if there was a director that was kind of new, they'd be given a Ferengi episode, or, you know, it was just not, you know...
Here's the problem, if I may answer the question. You know, for 7 years, myself and the staff, but I take a lot of responsibility for it, kept trying to knock a round peg into a square hole. Ferengis, I felt, were the humans of the 24th century, and I thought that it would be nice. We had so many goddamn heroes on the show. We had heroes falling out of our butts. We needed someone who wasn't so heroic, and people who were more like us, you know, still in the game, still trying to be who they were going to be. And there was humor in that. But Star Trek is not famous for having directors who can do comedy, and or even actors who can do comedy, but just didn't know if they should be doing comedy. And what happened by the last couple of seasons was Rick Berman would read the episodes, and he'd call me up and goes, "This is one funny episode. This is one really clever, interesting episode. You know, when we film it, it's just not going to be as good as it is on the page." So I feel like maybe if I had it to do all over again, instead of doing more Ferengi episodes, I might have cut back on it, because it never, some of them did, some of them were terrific, but it was a tough thing to do. Humor, even character-driven humor, you need people, you need a director with a touch. We never really had that.
Thank you very much.
All right, great. Let's see. We're really close. I think we're down to the last question. Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Arturo. I'm from Colombia in South America. My question is for Terry and Nicole. when Jadzia died, you tried to give some advice to Nicole to make Ezri more like Jadzia, or you try to make a different kind of Ezri, kind of different dads, each of you?
That is such a lovely thing. No. I mean, I would have. I was like, oh, that's such a lovely idea.
No, that didn't
No.
happen.
Beautiful.
It didn't happen.
Well, I was on the other side of the Paramount lot doing Behr,
Yes.
and lovely
So
Nicole.
no, we
was
didn't
busy.
get a chance to discuss.
Discuss the
beforehand. Although I'm sure it would have helped me a lot, you know. A chance
It was
to.
a little awkward though. It wasn't like I was dying to leave. I didn't want to die. I wanted to be reoccurring.
I understand.
A little awkward, Arturo, you know?
Yeah.
A little awkward.
So
It's all in the DS9 documentary, folks.
de nada.
What can I say? Again, cut
Thank you.
prematurely, but let's give a big hand to these guys for being with us.